let's look at systems of linear inequalities. So far in this unit, we've looked at solving linear systems by graphing, substitution, and elimination. Now we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit and look at solving linear inequalities by graphing. So basically you're given, and we've already done a little bit of this because I had it on the homework at the end of Unit 2. But now I just wanted you to get a little familiar with it because it's not very different from just solving linear equations by graphing, except this time there's just some shading involved. So you graph these the same way you would graph two lines or two inequalities, and then the way that you shade it will give you your solution. So let's start out with just looking at a few definition note stuff. So let me get my pen. All right, so the solution to a system of inequalities is the set of ordered pairs that satisfy all the linear equations. And like I said, this is shown by graphing. So the first step is you're going to graph and shade each inequality, and the solution is where those shadings overlap. So you may have to do this a couple different ways, but I'm going to try to show you a clean way to do it. But since you can erase on paper, it's kind of easy, but I'll show you. So let's look at number 1. And this note or this document is going to be what your homework's off of too. You guys are going to do 3, 4, 5, and 6 for homework. But I'm going to show you 2 examples. I'm going to show you 1 and 2. All right, so let's look at 1, and let me try to bring this up so you can see it. Okay, so let's look at number 1. So we've got y less than or equal to negative 2 over 3x minus 1. So first thing we need to do is just pick out the points, pick out the information we need. So this negative 1 is going to be our y-intercept. So that's where our point's going to start, or our line's going to start. And then negative 2 over 3 tells us our slope. So we're going to go down 2 to the right 3. That will get us there. Now, before we draw this line, we need to make sure we look at this inequality symbol, because this tells us if it's a shaded line or a solid line or a dotted line. And in this case, it's a solid line. So let me try to draw this as best I can. My drawings aren't very good because I'm doing it on the touch screen, but that's essentially where that line is. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can go ahead and shade what you already know about this line. So this says y is less than, so that means we're going to shade the bottom of this line. So you could go ahead and shade that if you want and then erase it later. So I'm going to leave it there, and then I'll come back and erase it to show you what that would look like. So that's the first graph, or that's our first equation, our inequality. Now you're going to come in to do the second one. So the second one's y-intercept is negative 8. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So it'll be about right there. And then our slope is 1/2. So we're going to go up 1 over to the right 2, which would lead us about right here. So our graph's going to look something like that. And now this inequality, which it has a line under it, so it's solid, it is above. Since it's greater than, it's above. So everything right here is going to be shaded in. So that means that our final answer is going to be all of this area right here that is in common. So not this. Out here, that wouldn't work because it's not shared, it's not overlapping. But this is. So I'm going to try to show you a cleaner way to do this. So if you wanted to wait till the very end to shade, this is what it would look like. You would graph your 2 points like this, and then you could say, okay, on my first line, it's going below, so that would be like right here. And on my second line, it's above, so it's going to be right here. So this will keep you from doing having to erase, because then you could just easily say that's where it is. But if you need to do it step by step, then do it the first way I did it. and graph each line and shade the solution while you're doing it, or shade each region, and then go back and figure out where it overlaps, and then that would be where your answer is. So we'll do another example. So we're going to graph this first equation, or the inequality on top first. So let's go with -4 is our y-intercept. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be right here. That's our start point. Our slope is 3/4. So that means we're going to go up 3. So 1, 2, 3. Over to the right, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that line, that inequality symbol, has a line under it. So this is a solid line. I'll try to draw it as neat as I can. Okay. And like I said, there's two ways you can do it. You could go ahead and shade it, or you can wait till the end. I'll go ahead and shade it, and then I'll show you at the end what it would look like without it. So I'm going to go ahead and shade it. It says everything less than this is the solution. So that's what it would look like shaded. All right, so now we're going to do our second equation, which is y greater than -7. So y greater than -7 is the same thing as a horizontal line. It's just saying that we're going to draw a line through, and I'll do this in a different color so that you can see it. That just means our y-intercept is 7. So 1, 2, or is -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And our graph is just a horizontal line through that point. And I almost made the mistake of drawing my line first. So don't make that mistake. Look at this inequality symbol. It does not have a line under it, which means this is going to have to be a dotted line. So it would look something like this with arrows on it. And we want everything greater than that shaded. So that means all of this would be shaded. Now, this is what I mean. If you look at this now, it's kind of confusing to see where your actual solution would be, which where it overlaps would be right here. Okay, but I'm going to try to show you how to do it after, weight and shade after. That way it makes a little bit more sense. So let me try to get rid of all that. Okay. So if I just went ahead and graphed these like normal lines and then went back at the end and figured out where to shade, it would clean things up a bit. So this is how it would look. So you would be left with both of your equations, or both of your lines like this, and you could say, okay, my first line was the first one I did. That was this line right here. It says it's less than, so I know I'm going to shade everything less than that. So that's going to be right here. And then my second equation was my horizontal line, and it was everything above that. So you can see right here that the only place that has in common is this area right here. So that's what your final answer would actually look like. So if you want to do it, by shading it as you go, I suggest you just lightly shade it. That way you can erase it, and your dark shade will actually be what your answer is. All right, so that's two examples of linear inequalities. And those are basically just graphing your two inequalities. Where the shading overlaps is your solution. So this is actually going to be your homework too. So instead of getting a separate page, you're going to go ahead and do 3, 4, 5, and 6.